Welcome back, dear friends, to another exciting episode of Exploring the Advent of Divine Justice. We are on part 23, covering paragraphs 108 through 115. This is part 23, part 1. And without any further ado, dear friends, we'll have our opening prayer. Thank you so much.
All praise, O my God, be to thee, who art the source of all glory and majesty, of greatness and honor, of sovereignty and dominion, of loftiness and grace, of awe and power. Whomsoever thou willest, thou causest to draw nigh into the most great ocean, and on whomsoever thou desirest, thou conferrest the honor of recognizing thy most ancient name. Of all who are in heaven and on earth, none can withstand the operation of thy sovereign will. From all eternity, thou dost rule the entire creation, and thou wilt continue forevermore to exercise thy dominion over all created things. There is none other God but thee, the Almighty, the most exalted, the all-powerful, the all-wise. Illumine, O Lord, the faces of thy servants, that they may behold thee, and cleanse their hearts, that they may turn unto the court of thy heavenly favors, and recognize him who is the manifestation of thyself and the dayspring of thine essence. Verily, thou art the Lord of all worlds. There is no God but thee, the unconstrained, the all-subduing. Bahá'u'lláh.
Thank you very much, Ms. Donna. Thank you very much. Okay, let us get back into it, dear friends. So today we are going to be studying paragraphs 108 through 115.
Do you have a page number?
Of course I do, my dear Tesfa. So if you are in this book, okay, it starts on page 113. If you have this book, okay, it starts on page 63, okay? It says, dearly beloved friends. Okay, so these are the major themes that will be addressed in paragraphs 108 through 115. The station of a true believer, the greatness of this day, his transforming power, the dangers foreshadowed by Bahá'u'lláh, tolerance and patience under adversities, the paramount importance of teaching the cause, and those who arise to aid Bahá'u'lláh. So these paragraphs 108 through 115 are the prophetic paragraphs that the beloved guardian has included from Bahá'u'lláh himself. So these are extracts and quotes from the writings from Bahá'u'lláh. So without any further ado, there is quite a bit of reading. We're going to start the process, okay? So paragraph 108, I'm just going to start going down. So Pat, you are first, Pat. Or you are my, there you go.
Paragraph 108, yeah, paragraph 108. Dearly beloved friends, I can do no better, eager as I am to extend to every one of you any assistance in my power that may enable you to discharge more effectively your divinely appointed, continually multiplying duties, than to direct your special attention at this decisive hour to these immortal passages gleaned in part from the great mass of Baha'u'llah's unpublished and untranslated writings. Whether in his revelation of the station and functions of his loved ones, or his eulogies of the greatness of his cause, or his emphasis on the paramount importance of teaching, or the dangers which he foreshadows, the counsels he imparts, the warnings he utters, the vistas he discloses, and the assurances and promises he gives, these dynamic and typical examples of Baha'u'llah's sublime utterance, each having a direct bearing on the task which actually face or lie ahead of the American Baha'i community, cannot fail to produce on the minds and hearts of any one of its members who approaches them with befitting humility and detachment such powerful reactions as to illuminate his entire being and intensify tremendously his daily exertions.
Beautifully read. Thank you. Okay, Miss Karen, you're up.
Okay. O friends, be not careless of the virtues with which ye have been endowed, neither be neglectful of your high destiny. Ye are the stars of the heaven of understanding, the breeze that stirreth at the break of day, the soft flowing waters upon which must depend the very life of all men, the letters inscribed upon his sacred scroll. O people of Baha, you are the breezes of spring that are wafted over the world. Through you we have adorned the world of being with the ornament of the knowledge of the Most Merciful. Through you, the countenance of the world hath been wreathed in smiles, and the brightness of his light shone forth. Cling ye to the cord of steadfastness in such wise that all vain imaginings may utterly vanish. Speed ye forth from the horizon of power in the name of your Lord, the unconstrained, and announce unto his servants with wisdom and eloquence the tidings of this cause, whose splendor hath been shed upon the world of being. Beware lest anything withhold you from observing the things prescribed unto you by the pen of glory, as it moved over his tablet with sovereign majesty and might.
Beautifully read, Miss Karen. Thank you. Okay, this is the continuation of paragraph 9. We'll get Miss Claudia to read this part. Go for it, Miss Claudia.
Great is the blessedness of him that hath hearkened to its shrill voice, as it was raised through the power of truth, before all who are in heaven and all who are on earth. O people of Baha, the river that is life indeed hath flowed for your sakes. Quaff ye in my name, despite them that have disbelieved in God, the Lord of Revelation. We have made you to be the hand of our cause. Render ye victorious this wronged one, who hath been sore tried at the hands of the workers of iniquity. He verily will aid anyone, everyone that aideth him, and will remember everyone that remembereth him. To this beareth witness this tablet, that hath shed the splendor of the loving kindness of your Lord, the all-glorious, the all-compelling. Blessed are the people of Baha. God beareth me witness. They are the solace of the eye of creation. Through them the universe hath been adorned, and the preserved tablet embellished. They are the ones who have sailed on the ark of complete independence, with their faces set toward the dayspring of beauty. How great is their blessedness that they have attained unto what their Lord, the omniscient, the all-wise, hath willed. Through their light the heavens have been adorned, and the faces of those that have drawn nigh unto him made to shine.
Beautiful, Miss Claudia. And this paragraph, we'll let Miss Donna take this one. Go for it, Miss Donna.
By the sorrows which afflict the beauty of the all-glorious, such is the station ordained for the true believer, that if to an extent smaller than a needle's eye, the glory of that station were to be unveiled to mankind, every beholder will be consumed away in his longing to attain it. For this reason, it had been decreed that in this earthly life, the full measure of the glory of his own station should remain concealed from the eyes of such a believer. If the veil be lifted and the full glory of the station of those who have turned wholly towards God and in their love for him renounce the world be made manifest, the entire creation will be dumbfounded.
Excellent. Thank you, Miss Donna. So there we are. That's paragraph 109. That was a long paragraph. Okay, let's go to paragraph 110. Miss Luann, could you start us off on this one?
May I pass, please?
Of course, Miss Luann.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Miss Deborah. You're up, Miss Deborah.
Verily I say, no one hath apprehended the root of this cause. It is incumbent upon everyone in this day to perceive with the eye of God and to hearken with his ear. Whoso beholdeth me with an eye besides mine own will never be able to know me. None among the manifestations of old, except to a prescribed degree, hath ever completely apprehended the nature of this revelation. I testify before God to the greatness, the inconceivable greatness of this revelation. Again and again have we, in most of our tablets, borne witness to this truth, that mankind may be roused from its heedlessness. How great is the cause, how staggering the weight of its message. In this most mighty revelation, all the dispensations of the past have attained their highest, their final consummation. That which has been made manifest in this preeminent, this most exalted revelation stands unparalleled in the annals of the past, nor will future ages witness its like. The purpose underlying all creation is the revelation of this most sublime, this most holy day, the day known as the day of God, in his books and scriptures, the day which all the prophets and the chosen ones and the holy ones have wished to witness.
Excellently read. Thank you so much. Okay, we're continuing paragraph 110. Let's go to Miss Marianne. Miss Marianne, you're up.
The highest essence and most perfect expression of whatsoever the peoples of old have either said or written has, through this most potent revelation, been sent down from the heaven of the will of the all-possessing, the ever-abiding God. This is the day in which God's most excellent favors have been poured out upon men, the day in which his most mighty grace has been infused into all created things. This is the day whereon the ocean of God's mercy has been manifested unto men, the day in which the day star of his loving kindness has shed its radiance upon them, the day in which the clouds of his bountiful favor have overshadowed the whole of mankind. By the righteousness of mine own self, great, immeasurably great is this cause. Mighty, inconceivably mighty is this day. Every prophet has announced the coming of this day, and every messenger has groaned in his yearning for this revelation, a revelation which no sooner had it been revealed than all created things cried out, saying, "The earth is God's, the most exalted, the most great."
Thank you, Marianne. Beautifully read. Thank you so much. Okay, we continue paragraph 110, starting the day. Okay, and Miss Yuda Miller, if you could be so kind. Don't forget to unmute yourself.
The day of the promised one is come, and he who is the promised one loudly proclaimeth before all who are in heaven and all who are on earth, verily, there is none other God but he, the help in peril, the self-subsisting. I swear by God, that which had been enshrined from eternity in the knowledge of God, the knower of the unseen and unseen, is revealed. Happy is the eye that sees, and the face that turneth towards the countenance of God, the Lord of all being. Great indeed is this day. The allusions made to it in all the sacred scriptures as the day of God attest its greatness. The soul of every prophet of God, of every divine messenger, has thirsted for this wondrous day. All the diverse kindreds of the earth have likewise yearned to attain it. This day, a door is opened wider than both heaven and earth. The eye of the mercy of him who is the desire of the world is turned towards all men. An act, however infinitesimal, is, when viewed in the mirror of the knowledge of God, mightier than a mountain. Every top prophet in his path is as the sea in that mirror. For this is the day which the one true God, glorified be he, has announced in all his books unto his prophets and his messengers.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Yuda. Okay, carrying on paragraph 110. So this is the start. It says, this is a revelation. Okay, let us have Dennis. Dennis, you are our next reader, please.
Okay. This is a revelation under which, if a man shed for its sake one drop of blood, myriads of oceans will be his recompense. A fleeting moment in this day excelleth centuries of a bygone age. Neither sun nor moon hath witnessed a day such as this. This is a day whereon the unseen world crieth out, "Great is thy blessedness, O earth, for thou hast been made the footstool of thy God, and been chosen as the seat of his mighty throne." The world of being shineth in this day with the resplendency of this divine revelation. All created things extol its saving grace and sing its praises. The universe is wrapped in an ecstasy of joy and gladness. The scriptures of past dispensations celebrate the great jubilee that must needs greet this most great day of God. Well is it with him that hath lived to see this day, and hath recognized his station. This day a different sun has risen, and a different heaven hath been adorned with the stars and its planets. The world is another world, and the cause another cause. This is a day which past ages and centuries can never rival. Know this, be not of the ignorant.
Thank you, dear Dennis. Okay, let's go to Mary, who's sitting beside you, please.
This is the day whereon human ears have been privileged to hear what he who conversed with God, Moses, heard upon Sinai, what he who is the friend of God, Muhammad, heard when lifted up towards him, what he who is the Spirit of God, Jesus, heard as he ascended unto him, the help in peril, the self-subsisting. This day is God's day, and this cause his cause. Happy is he who have renounced this world and clung to him who is the dayspring of God's revelation. This is the King of days, the day that have seen the coming of the best beloved, he who through all eternity have been acclaimed, the desire of the world. This is the chief of all days, and the king thereof. Great is the blessedness of him who have attained through the sweet savor of these days unto everlasting life, and who, with the most great steadfastness, have arisen to aid the cause of him who is the King of names. Such a man is as the eye to the body of mankind. Peerless is this day, for it is as the eye to the past ages and centuries, and as a light unto the darkness of the times. This day is different from other days, and this cause different from other causes. Entreat ye the one true God, that he may deprive not the eyes of men from beholding his signs, nor their ears from hearkening unto the shrill voice of the pen of glory.
Beautifully read, Mary. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Okay, I'll read this one. These days are God's days, a moment of which ages and centuries can never rival. An atom in these days is as the sun, a drop as the ocean, one single breath exhaled in the love of God and for his service is written down by the pen of glory as a princely deed. Were the virtues of this day to be recounted, all would be thunderstruck, except those whom thy Lord hath exempted. By the righteousness of God, these are the days in which God hath proved the hearts of the entire company of his messengers and prophets, and beyond them those that stand guard over his sacred and inviolable sanctuary, the inmates of the celestial pavilion and dwellers of the tabernacle of glory. Should the greatness of this day be revealed in its fullness, every man would forsake a myriad lives in his longing to partake, though it be for one moment, of its great glory. How much more this world and its corruptible treasures. God, the true one, is my witness. This is the day whereon it is incumbent upon everyone that seeth to behold, and every ear that hearkeneth to hear, and every heart that understandeth to perceive, and every tongue that speaketh to proclaim unto all who are in heaven and on earth, this holy, this exalted, and all highest name. Say, O men, this is a matchless day. Matchless must likewise be the tongue that celebrateth the praise of the desire of all nations. And matchless the deed that aspireth to be acceptable in his sight. The whole human race hath longed for this day, that perchance it may fulfill that which well beseemeth its station and is worthy of its destiny. So that was a very long paragraph 110. Okay, carrying on to paragraph 111. So let me have our next reader. Dear Tesfai, could you read this one, paragraph 111? Tesfai, can you just unmute yourself and you can read this paragraph?
Sorry, I was.
Okay, there you go. Go for it.
There you go. Okay, I can read from my book here. Through the movement of our pain of glory, we have, as a binding of the omnipotent ordainer, breathed a new life into every human frame, and instilled into every word a fresh potency. All created things proclaim the evidence of this worldwide regeneration. O people, I swear by the one true God, this is the ocean out of which all seas have proceeded, and with which every one of them will ultimately be united. From him, all the sons have been generated, and unto him they will all return. Through his potency, the trees of divine revelation have yielded their fruits, every one of which has been sent down in the form of a prophet, bearing a message of God's creatures in each of the worlds whose number God alone in his all-encompassing knowledge can reckon. This he has accomplished through the agency of but one letter of his word, revealed by his pen, a pen moved by his directing finger. His finger is self-sustained by the power of the God's truth, by the righteousness of the one true God. If one speak of a jewel be lost and buried beneath a mountain of stones, and lie hidden beyond the seven seas, the hand of omnipotence would assuredly reveal it in this day, pure and cleansed from dross.
Excellent. Thank you, dear Tesfai. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Miss Valerie, could you pick up where Tesfai left off? Every single letter.
Every single letter proceeding from our mouth is endowed with such regenerative power as to enable it to bring into existence a new creation, a creation the magnitude of which is inscrutable to all save God. He verily hath knowledge of all things. It is in our power, should we wish it, to enable a speck of floating dust to generate in less than the twinkling of an eye. Sons of infinite, of unimaginable splendor, to cause a dewdrop to develop into a vast and numberless oceans, to infuse into every letter such a force as to empower it to unfold all the knowledge of past and future ages. We are possessed of such power, which, if brought to light, will transmute the most deadly of poisons into a panacea of unfailing efficacy.
Very well read. Thank you, Miss Valerie.
You're welcome.
Okay. And moving on to paragraph 112. Okay. Miss Betty, are you here with us?
Yes, I'm here, but I don't see well enough to read that much.
Okay, no worries. Thank you very much, Miss Betty.
Okay.
Combi's John, could you read this one for us?
Yes, of course.
Okay, excellent.
The days are approaching their end, and yet the peoples of the earth are seen sunk in grievous heedlessness and lost in manifest error. Great, great is the cause. The hour is approaching when the most great convulsion will have appeared. I swear by him who is the truth, it shall cause separation to afflict everyone, even those who circle around me. Say, O concourse of the heedless, I swear by God, the promised day is come, the day when tempting trials will have surged above your heads and beneath your feet, saying, taste ye what your hands have wrought. The time for the destruction of the world and its people hath arrived. He who is the pre-existent is come, that he may bestow everlasting life and grant eternal preservation and confer that which is conducive to true living. The day is approaching when its civilization's flame will devour the cities, when the tongue of grandeur will proclaim the kingdom is God's, the Almighty, the All-Praised. O ye that are drift of understanding, a severe trial pursueth you and will suddenly overtake you. Bestir yourselves, that happily it may pass and inflict no harm upon you. O ye peoples of the world, know verily that an unforeseen calamity is following you, and that grievous tribulation awaiteth you. Think not the deeds ye have committed have been bottled from my sight.
Very well read, Combi John. Thank you so much. Okay, Roya John, could you read this part?
O heedless ones, though the wonders of my mercy have encompassed all created things, both visible and invisible, and though the revelations of my grace and bounty have permeated every atom of the universe, yet the rod with which I can chastise the wicked is grievous, and the fierceness of mine anger against them terrible. Grieve thou not over those that have busied themselves with the things of this world, and have forgotten the remembrance of God, the Most Great. By him who is the eternal truth, the day is approaching when the wrathful anger of the Almighty will have taken hold of them. He verily is the omnipotent, the all-subduing, the most powerful. He shall cleanse the earth from the defilement of their corruption, and shall give it for an heritage unto such as of his servants as are nigh unto him. Soon will the cry, ye, here am I, be heard from every land. For there had never been, nor can there ever be, any other refuge to fly to for anyone. And when the appointed hour is come, there shall suddenly appear that which shall cause the limbs of mankind to quake. Then, and only then, will the divine standard be unfurled, and the nightingale of paradise warble its melody.
Very well read, Rachel. Thank you. Right, I will start this one off. In the beginning of every revelation, adversities have prevailed, which later on have been turned into great prosperity. Say, O people of God, beware lest the powers of the earth alarm you, or the might of the nations weaken you, or the tumult of the people of discord deter you, or the exponents of earthly glory sadden you. Be ye as a mountain in the cause of your Lord, the Almighty, the All-Glorious, the Unconstrained. Say, beware, O people of Baha, lest the strong ones of the earth rob you of your strength, or they who rule the world fill you with fear. Put your trust in God and commit your affairs to his keeping. He verily will, through the power of truth, render you victorious. And he verily is powerful to do what he willeth. And in his grasp are the reins of omnipotent might. All right. And we'll continue this paragraph. Let me get our next reader. Aruna, would you like to read this? Might be listening.
Oh, sorry, what did you say?
Well, would you like to read this paragraph, this section of paragraph 113, please?
Okay.
Thank you so much.
I swear by my life, nothing save that which profiteth them can befall my loved ones. To this testifieth the pen of God, the most powerful, the all-glorious, the best beloved. Let not the happenings of the world sadden you. I swear by God, the sea of joy yearneth to attain your presence, for every good thing hath been created for you, and will, according to the needs of the times, be revealed unto you. O my servants, sorrow not if in these days and on this earthly plane, things contrary to your wishes have been ordained and manifested by God. For days of blissful joy, of heavenly delight, are assuredly in store for you. Worlds, holy and spiritually glorious, will be unveiled to your eyes. You are destined by him in this world and hereafter to partake of their benefits, to share in their joys, and to obtain a portion of their sustaining grace. To each and every one of them you will no doubt attain.
Beautifully read. Thank you, Aruna. Okay, and now we move to paragraph 114. This is also a lengthy paragraph, so we'll start this off. I'll start this paragraph off and then we'll go through it. This is the day in which to speak. It is incumbent upon the people of Baha to strive with the utmost patience and forbearance to guide the peoples of the world to the most great horizon. Everybody calleth aloud for a soul. Heavenly souls must needs quicken with the breath of the word of God, the dead bodies with a fresh spirit. Within every word, a new spirit is hidden. Happy is the man that attaineth thereunto, and hath arisen to teach the cause of him who is the King of eternity. Say, O servants, The triumph of this cause hath depended and will continue to depend upon the appearance of holy souls, upon the showing forth of goodly deeds, and the revelation of words of consummate wisdom. Center your energies in the propagation of the faith of God. Whoso is worthy of so high a calling, let him arise and promote it. Whoso is unable, it is his duty to appoint him who will in his stead proclaim this revelation, whose power hath caused the foundations of the mightiest structures to quake, every mountain to be crushed into dust, and every soul to be dumbfounded. Let your principal concern be to rescue the fallen from the slough of impending extinction, and to help him embrace the ancient faith of God. Your behavior towards your neighbor should be such as to manifest clearly the signs of the one true God, for ye are the first among men to be recreated by his Spirit, the first to adore and bow the knee before him, the first to circle around his throne of glory. Okay, let us go. Miss Karen, could you read the next part from paragraph 114?
Yes. O ye beloved of God, repose not yourselves on your couches. Nay, bestir yourselves as soon as ye recognize your Lord, the Creator, and hear of the things which have befallen him, and hasten to his assistance. Unloose your tongues and proclaim unceasingly his cause. This shall be better for you than all the treasures of the past and of the future, if ye be of them that comprehend this truth. I swear by him who is the truth. Ere long will God adorn the beginning of the book of existence with the mention of his loved ones who have suffered tribulation in his path and journeyed through the countries in his name and for his praise. Whoso hath attained their presence will glory in their meeting, and all that dwell in every land will be illumined by their memory. Vie ye with each other in the service of God and of his cause. This is indeed what profiteth you in this world, and in that which is to come. Your Lord, the God of mercy, is the all-informed, the all-knowing. Grieve not at the things ye witness in this day. The day shall come whereon the tongues of the nations will proclaim, the earth is God's, the Almighty, the single, the incomparable, the all-knowing. Blessed is the spot and the house and the place and the city and the heart and the mountain and the refuge and the cave and the valley and the land and the sea and the island and the meadow, where mention of God hath been made and his praise glorified.
Thank you, dear Karen. Isn't that interesting? The beloved guardian includes a prayer of Bahá'u'lláh in Advent here. Continuing paragraph 114. Pat, as you're right there in my view screen, please, if you could continue. Go for it, please.
Movement itself from place to place, when undertaken for the sake of God, hath always exerted and can now exert its influence in the world. In the books of old, the station of them that have voyaged far and near in order to guide the servants of God hath been set forth and written down. I swear by God, so great are the things adorned for the steadfast, that were they so much as the eye of a needle to be disclosed, all who are in heaven and on earth would be dumbfounded, except such as God, the Lord of all worlds, hath willed to exempt. I swear by God, that which hath been destined for him who aideth my cause excelleth the treasures of the earth. Whoso openeth his lips in this day, and maketh mention of the name of his Lord, the host of divine inspiration shall descend upon him from the heaven of my name, the all-knowing, the all-wise. On him shall also descend the concourse on high, each bearing aloft a chalice of pure light. Thus hath it been foreordained in the realm of God's revelation by the behest of him who is the all-glorious, the most powerful. By the righteousness of him who in this day crieth within the inmost heart of all created things, God, there is none other God besides me.
So powerful. Thank you, dear Pat. Thank you. And to close off this paragraph, let us go to next. Okay, dear Tesfaye, could you start off paragraph 115 for us?
Okay, 115. 115, okay.
Oh, did we read this part? Besides me, I believe Pat, you've read this one, right? Yes.
Which one?
Yeah. Yes, you read that. I just want to double check. Okay, excellent. Okay.
I swear by the one true God. This is the day of those who have detached themselves from all but him. The day of those who have recognized his unity. The day whereon God creates, which the hands of his power, divine beings and imperishable essence, every one of whom will cast the world and all that is therein behind him, and will wax so steadfast in the cause of God that every wise and understanding heart will marvel. There lay concealed within the holy veil and prepared for the service of God, a company of his chosen ones, who shall be manifested unto men, who shall aid his cause, who shall be afraid of no one. Though the entire human race rise up and war against them, these are the ones who before the gaze of the dwellers on earth, excuse me, and the dungeons of heaven shall arise and shouting aloud acclaim the name of the Almighty and summon the children of men to the path of God, the all-glorious, the all-praised.
Excellent. Okay, we'll pause there, dear Tesfaye. Also, I noticed that one slide of paragraph 114, the last one, is missing. So we're going to come back to 114 after we finish this 115. Yeah.
Oh, did I jump anything?
No, this was my fault. I'm apparently the very, very last words of paragraph 114, that slide was missing. So we'll come back to it. You did great, Tesfaye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll start off this. The day is approaching when God will have, by an act of his will, raised up a race of men, the nature of which is inscrutable to all save God, the all-powerful, the self-subsisting. He will ere long out of the bosom of power draw forth the hands of ascendancy and might, hands who will arise to win victory for this youth and who will purge mankind from the defilement of the outcast and the ungodly. These hands will gird up their loins to champion the faith of God, and will, in my name, the self-subsistent, the mighty, subdue the peoples and kindreds of the earth. They will enter the cities and will inspire with fear the hearts of all their inhabitants. Such are the evidences of the might of God. How fearful, how vehement is his might. So many utterances of this powerful, of this is the day is approaching. So there we are. Let's go back to that small extract. I for some reason got lost in paragraph 114. So we ended in other God besides me. I have that. It's paragraph 114. It is at the very end, and that was so well read. Okay, it starts, if any man. So it starts on page 127 of this book from the very bottom. Does anyone have this book handy that they're following along? Yes, Karen, if you could go ahead. It starts, if any man.
If any man were to arise to defend in his writings the cause of God against its assailants, such a man, however inconsiderable his share, shall be so honored in the world to come that the concourse on high would envy his glory. No pen can depict the loftiness of his station, neither can any tongue describe its splendor. Please God, you may all be strengthened to carry out that which is the will of God, and may be graciously assisted to appreciate the rank conferred upon such of his loved ones as have arisen to serve him and magnify his name. Upon them be the glory of God, the glory of all that is in the heavens and all that is on earth, and the glory of the inmates of the most exalted paradise, the heaven of heavens. O people of Baha, that there is none to rival you is a sign of mercy. Quaff ye the cup of bounty, the wine of immortality, despite them that have repudiated God, the Lord of names and maker of the heavens.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Karen. And so sorry about that slide being not there. Hence, we had to go back to that one that was missed. But so powerful. So, all of these paragraphs coming from the writings of Bahá'u'lláh here. And these were, the beloved guardian included this in Advent because these were previously untranslated tablets from Bahá'u'lláh. And my first observation I share with you is, as you all know, the beloved guardian translated gleanings from the writings of Bahá'u'lláh. And I'm sure, dear friends, that you have all read gleanings from the writings of Bahá'u'lláh. Even the order of this section, 108 through 115, covering the subjects and themes that we addressed in the very beginnings, namely station of a true believer, the greatness of this day, and that was that monster paragraph 110 that covered this is the day, this is the day. And if you open gleanings from the writings of Bahá'u'lláh, I think it's like the first 10 pages at least of gleanings, you will see the beloved guardian stressing this is the day. So even the order, in the sense of the beloved guardian, in the opening of gleanings from the writings of Bahá'u'lláh, he put that also first. And so, and all of these other themes come into the gleanings from the writings of Baha'u'lláh, the dangers foreshadowed by Baha'u'lláh, and the tolerance and patience under adversities, as well as the supreme and paramount importance of teaching this cause and those who arise to aid Baha'u'lláh. So there were so many different things going through each of these paragraphs. And it would take maybe 3 times as long if we micro dissect it, if we spend time going through each one of them. But I have broken it down as we go ahead, okay? So I'm going to, as we always do, march along, okay? But if you have any questions or thoughts at this point, we could always hear your thoughts or questions or insights as we were reading the paragraphs. Friends, do you have any thoughts or insights as we were reading all of those incredible extracts from Baha'u'lláh cited here in Advent, or are we ready to continue our study?
You know what I observe here is okay if I speak?
Of course, dear Tesfaye, go for it.
Okay, there are so many things in this long paragraph.
Sure.
So many things. But one thing which I come across is to be here. When he say that, I think probably in your slide number 7 or something like that, I think in this most mighty revelation, all the dispensations of the past have attained their highest and final consummation.
Right.
And then another quotation here, a small one, that which has been made manifest
right here.
In this preeminent, this most exalted revelation stands unparalleled in the annals of the past, nor will future ages witness its likes. And they say, what is here is this revelation is to be what makes different from the past one.
Mm-hmm.
So why it is not, it is unparalleled. And it is not to be, it's more exalted than one.
It's a great question, dear Tesfaye. Great question. Why is this revelation so unique?
Yeah.
And why is it unparalleled? And why does here Baha'u'lláh say that this in the past, nor will future ages witness its like?
Yep, because this revelation is just a renewal of the past. But it says it is to be unique and it's unparalleled.
That's correct. But I can give you the answer now, or if I can give you the answer later. Either way.
It is up to you. It's up to you. Then I have another things also in the other place that if you want to answer together, maybe says also, I don't remember the slide, maybe it says, you might remember maybe, this cause is different from other cause.
This what, sorry?
This cause is different from other cause.
Yes,
This may be answered together.
Yes, it's the same. It's the same. It's right here. Immeasurably great is this cause, and talking about this cause is different. Yes, it's the same. It's the same answer. It's the same answer. How is this unique? How is this different?
In the writings also say, again, many places that I see, I think Baha'u'lláh and the Bab, they're repeating the helping pearl, the helping pearl. What is the helping pearl stands for here?
Well, peril means crisis, distress, problems, catastrophe, a major problem. So Baha'u'lláh is the help in problems. Really? So that's what he is the help in our crises, our problems. So really that's what he's saying. I will answer your question because it's such a brilliant question. It's a great insight. And also I see our dear Deborah raising a hand. So I'm going to touch on the question coming from our dear Tesfaye. And obviously all you dear friends are geniuses. Ruhi book I believe it is, correct me if I'm wrong, it's Ruhi Book 8 is on the covenant of Baha, on the covenant.
Yes.
And that, my dear friends, is what stands and makes this faith unique. Okay? It is the covenant. Okay? It is, this is what steps this faith apart from all past dispensations. That the manifestation of God in this day and age, Bahá'u'lláh, the supreme manifestation, he left a will and testament. And in that will and testament, it was Abdul-Baha, given the title and rank as center of the covenant, and Abdul-Baha also left a will and testament. And in his will and testament, he gave the guardianship as well as the universal house of justice, the administrative order. And so what happened is when the beloved guardian formally did not have a will and testament, also didn't have an heir, a male heir. So based upon that, based upon the will and testament of Abdul-Baha, the requirements for having the successorship of the guardianship, there was no successorship to have another guardian. So what happened was, it fell to, at that point, it was too early for the Universal House of Justice to emerge. So it fell to the ministry of the custodians. And this was in 1957. And so from 1957 to the 1963, as all of you know this, we've covered this very well. So from 1963, the election of the supreme body, Universal House of Justice, came into being. And also what is unique in this dispensation is we have this infallible protection from, and also another unique thing is from day one, as this is such a new faith, all of the creative word has been protected from distortion and additions per se, you know, and we have the creative word, we have authorized translations, and the infallible protection of our supreme body. So this is something unique. We have the protection of the covenant, as well as the divine protection of our supreme body. This is unique. And to answer your dear question, dear Tesfaye, no other past dispensation has had this gift and bounty. The past revelation of Muhammad, this is a long answer, I apologize. And in our course in dispensation of Bahá'u'lláh, this is going to be really explored because this question gets asked by the beloved guardian. But in the past dispensation of Muhammad, when Muhammad, prior to Muhammad passing, he had informally, verbally appointed Ali as his successor. He had verbally done it, but not in writing. But when he passed away, what happened was his uncle immediately took the throne, as they say, and took the possessorship of the faith of Muhammad. And hence the faith was split even before Muhammad even drew his last breath. It split into Shia and Sunni. And what happened was the faith split. In this dispensation, Baha'u'lláh says, I have erased any form of what would create division, discord, or strife within my faith, because it's all very clear. He has a will and testament, and then after him, Abdul-Baha has will and testament, and very clear that it says if there is no heir or successor, a male heir or successor of coming from the family of Ahsan, which is the family of Baha'u'lláh in the guardianship, there was none. So it was very clear that it would pass to the supreme body, Universal House of Justice. Very clear, categorically, and that is right there in the writing. So the covenant is unique and protected, and that is why there is such a unity in the faith because of this. That was a long answer, my dear Tesfaye.
No, it's a very good one. Really, that's nice. That's what's in my mind.
But this faith is unique in that no other past dispensation has, from the author himself till now, had that level of successorship, guidance, protection, And we see that very well explained in Ruhi Book 8. And I encourage all my lovely fellows to take that, because that is talking about the covenant. And it's so important to study the covenant of Baha'u'lláh. My dear Deborah, I apologize. You had a hand, please.
That's okay. You pretty much covered it. I was just going to also bring up the fact that the purpose of this faith above the past ones is that we are reaching out to all of mankind. We're not singling down to just our countries. The borders are dropped, and what perils is happening to mankind is happening to mankind all over the world, not just in our little area where we live.
Thank you, dear Deborah. Thank you. Yeah, the prescription from the mouthpiece of Baha'u'lláh, as now humanity is perceived as a little globe. So the prescription in this day is unity of humanity.
Yes.
And in the day of His Holiness Jesus Christ, all they knew about was a small regional area called Palestine. And they were all fighting and warring and killing each other. And so His Holiness Jesus Christ said, love thy neighbor. Love thy neighbor, so at least you can get along in that area and not fight and kill each other. So, and in the day of Muhammad, it was this building up of the civilizations, these Arab civilizations, to come together to create that. But in this day and age, we're reaching that maturation of adolescence. Hopefully, we're coming together as a civilization of these countries coming together and recognizing that we are one planet, and that our resources shouldn't be expended on war, but hopefully protecting our little blue spot in this cosmos and not causing gases that eradicate all life on this planet and create global warming at a level that we've never seen. So the reality is that the more that we care for each other and love each other, this is how we are progressing as a species. But really, great question, dear Tesfai. That question you asked is such a profound question, and it gets the beloved guardian in dispensation of Baha'u'lláh really builds on that question. How is this faith unique? And the answer really is the administrative order of Baha'u'lláh. The administrative order of Baha'u'lláh is how this faith is unique. And this administrative order of Baha'u'lláh is the Universal House of Justice and the guardianship and this covenant of Baha'u'lláh that has been brought into being, is how this faith is unique. So when we study dispensation of Baha'u'lláh, you really get a solid understanding of the uniqueness of this revelation. Thank you.
That's good. Okay, I have one more.
Okay, I love it, dear Tesfai, because questions bring about answers and bring about thought.
All right,
Okay, go for it.
So sorry to give you a hard time.
No, it's good.
All right, God, creates all days are equal. There is no days are to be one is better than the other day. But in the writings that we read tonight, it is highlighted. It says, this is the day of God. This is the day of God. What does it mean as the day of God? What's special on that day?
That's a great question. I love it, dear Tesfai, because these are super important questions, right? This is the day. This day is God's day. This is the King of days. This is the Chief of days.
All days are God's day. What is that?
Okay, so I'm going to toss it over to anyone in my class that thinks they have the answer, and we'll hear what you say. Because anyone have a thought? What is special about this day, and what does it mean by day? What is it? Because it's capital.
The day of God. I don't know.
That's right. It's the day of God. But when it's saying this is the day, okay. But what day is it, and why is it even more important in that sense? Any thoughts? Because I always have thoughts, but I want to see if anyone else has an answer. Because in the sense of a fireside, we have questions, and I want to see how you would respond to this question. Go for it. Anyone would like to share their answer on this?
I have a thought.
Please, dear Karen, go for it.
In one of the other paragraphs, when it talks about the previous dispensations and this dispensation culminating here,
right?
My immediate thought was all of the previous dispensations, as we've been told, have come to fruition
right here
with this faith of Bahá'u'lláh. They have found their goal, that which was prophesied has come to fruition. It's more, they've borne that fruit. In terms of the day of God, day, an era, an epoch, the revelation itself. And sometimes I've been thinking about this, the day of God. This day is the day of God. It's the fullness of Bahá'u'lláh as the Father, as the supreme and universal manifestation, as the voice. You can hear the voice of God. We all can, because in one other of the sections it talks about, we in this day are hearing that which was spoken to previous manifestations. And it's in this day, we have progressed to the point in many ways, but spiritually able to comprehend and understand what God has told us through Bahá'u'lláh, through his manifestation in this day. And it's such a full measure that it's hard to express, but it's just such a full measure that it is the day of God. It belongs to no other. This is God's earth. This is God's creation. This is God's day now. Sometimes, and you might want to address this, Esan, because sometimes I can't remember where I've read things and quotes, but in all the days and all the epochs and the revelations gone before, I thought I had read somewhere in a certain sense, they are all the days of God. But this particular revelation, this revelation of Baha'u'lláh is being singled out with that definite distinction, specifically saying this day is the day of God. And so for me, it's the fullness of time.
Right.
Please speak to this.
This is an incredible question that also is magnified again in dispensation of Baha'u'lláh. What is this day? So this is another major theme that comes up in dispensation of Baha'u'lláh. And we're going to be studying that also in much greater detail. So as mentioned, and also highlighted here in paragraph 110, and talking about this is the final consummation. So all past revelations have been talking about this coming day. So I give you an analogy, okay? And I've heard this analogy. This is not my analogy, but I share this analogy. Imagine all past revelations being and talking about the coming of the ultimate spring, this tree that is going to bring forth fruit. And this revelation is going to come. So all past revelations are the development and maturation of this tree. So at different points, that tree is at different heights. And eventually, that tree reaches a certain point. And in this day and age, it says, this is the day that now that tree is giving forth fruit. And from that point on, it will always be a what? A fruit tree. Because it's the final consummation of the maturation that all the revelations prior had said, that the purpose of this unfoldment of revelation is for that tree to reach its final consummation, namely a fruit tree. And from then on, it will be a fruit tree. Follow? So this is the highest level and station of what that maturation is being achieved by the unfoldment of these revelations. Okay, that is, but it's the revelation of Bahá'u'lláh. This is also coming from a Zoroastrian prophecy it's also mentioned in dispensation of Bahá'u'lláh. And I'm going to get into much more detail, but it says in past revelations, it is like the dawning of the sun. At different points in time, the sun is at different places and plenitude in the sky. Okay? It's this, and it's all the same day, right? The same day, but at different points, at different times, the sun is at different points. At say 8 o'clock, the sun is low on the horizon. At 11 o'clock, it's higher, and at noon, it's at the highest point. Baha'u'lláh is saying, this is the day. The sun is in the midmost center of the sky. All revelation should be awake and aware. Follow? So this is where is the final consummation of the day of the revelation of Baha'u'lláh. And that is a Zoroastrian prophecy, and it is quoted in dispensation of Baha'u'lláh. Okay? But there's many more that we could talk about and get into, but let me check my time. We're 5 minutes till. So, but as you saw, this was a long reading tonight. And, but I'm just going to maybe read the brief summary as well as the major points, and we'll close it off tonight, okay? But I encourage you for your homework for next week is to reread these paragraphs and think about the points and questions that you have for next time, okay? So in this section that we covered, covering paragraphs 108 through 115, the beloved Guardian is citing some of the then unpublished and untranslated writings of His Holiness Baha'u'lláh. And they are regarding teaching and pioneering initiatives. As you saw, prior to that, he was constantly stressing teaching, stressing pioneering. And so he's translating his extracts from Baha'u'lláh on the importance of teaching, as well as his extracts on the importance of this day, the importance of going out, recognizing that. And these statements from Baha'u'lláh are grouped around specific themes in these paragraphs. So here are the major key points that are in these paragraphs. And after we cover the key points, we'll close it off for tonight. And if anyone else has any other questions, we'll answer those. The key points that from the cursory study states there are virtues and favors bestowed on the followers of Baha'u'lláh and their duty to teach the cause. So that is an incredible one that we're going to be exploring as we get into it. There are immense virtues and favors that are bestowed on the followers of Baha'u'lláh when they arise to their duty to teach this cause. Another is the station of a true believer. As you all know, in Kitab-i-Iran, there's a section that many have even called the tablet of the true seeker. And but it's actually not a tablet, it's part of Kitab-i-Iran, and that is in that it talks about also the station of the true believer. So one of the main hallmark themes of this revelation is transformation. And so in this, one of the themes that in this section is also the transformative power of Baha'u'lláh, the greatness of this day. How many times did we read, this is the day, this is the king of days, this is the chief of days. the greatness of this day, the day of Bahá'u'lláh. Then in this section also, the beloved guardian includes extracts talking about the dangers that are foreshadowed by Bahá'u'lláh. And we'll be exploring them in much greater detail as we're studying that. The tolerance and patience under adversity. So here the beloved guardian is quoting Bahá'u'lláh in how to approach these adversities, trials, tribulations, and tests that we're going to be going through with tolerance and patience. And because remember, who is he addressing, and what subject is he really addressing? He is addressing the teachers of the cause of God, the teachers. And very interestingly, and of note, this letter written 1938, technically 83 years ago, okay? 82 years ago today, World War II started, September 1st, 1939, when Germany invaded Poland, September 1st, 1939. So if you remember, December 25th, 1938, and then September 1st, 1939. So almost 9 months after the Guardian wrote this epoch letter warning the American believers, North American Baha'i community of the impending convulsions, the catastrophic collapse, and all of these crises that are coming 9 months after, and also quoting the dangers foreshadowed by Baha'u'lláh in these paragraphs. 9 months after, we entered into another war in World War II. So very interesting. So this is here the beloved guardian addressing the dangers foreshadowed by Baha'u'lláh. And then, as mentioned, that how we should have tolerance and patience, as well as this paramount importance of teaching the cause. As we mentioned, this entire letter is meant for the people to go teach and arise to serve the cause. And also the immense gift for those who arise to aid Baha'u'lláh. So there we are, dear friends.
You know, when before you close, maybe I can say something here.
Of course, dear Tesla. Go for it.
You know, in the writings today we read in these long passages, or paragraphs, it says many times, bestir yourself, center your energy, repose from your couch. And all these things is to be, for us to go out and teach, and the bounties and the blessings of the faith, everything is to be said over and over in many languages and many words put in a very different ways. So I don't know what the length of the passage is to be much more important or not, or maybe to articulate the points, or I don't know how this presentation is to be for this long passage, the Guardian.
We break it down, dear Tesfai, the paragraph 110, paragraph 114, we break those long paragraphs down, and an aspect of bestir yourself. Do not repose on your couches of heedlessness and sloth. All those points where it says, get up, do not
center your energy.
Do not center your energies on inaction,
Yeah.
Focus your energies on service and teaching and move, really.
Yeah, that's what I say.
The language, you see how many different ways either the Guardian has translated it so that there is no room for vacillation in a sense. You cannot.
Exactly.
He's translated it and says it in 10 different ways. Get up, move, action, bestir yourself. And because he wants everyone to read it and have a level of comprehension and to get up and do it. And you're absolutely right, dear Tesfai. And so we're going to be reading and breaking that down in our next session. It actually might be 2 sessions because we saw how long these paragraphs are. So it might take 2 sessions to finish this part 23, covering paragraphs 108 through 115. But it's awesome reading this with you tonight. And any other questions before we have our closing prayer? And I really thank you, all of you.
It will be enough, I think. Otherwise, you can't see the whole night.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Thank you, dear Tesfai. I enjoy your questions. Truly, it brings that extra level of depth and thought to quote the class. Okay, so let's have our closing prayer and let's say good night to everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think Claudia is on mute.
She's going to unmute herself. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Make firm our steps, O Lord, in thy path, and strengthen thou our hearts in thine obedience. Turn our faces toward the beauty of thy oneness, and gladden our bosoms with the signs of thy divine unity. Adorn our bodies with the robe of thy bounty, and remove from our eyes the veil of sinfulness, and give us the chalice of thy grace, that the essence of all beings may sing thy praise before the vision of thy grandeur. Reveal then thyself, O Lord, by thy merciful utterance and by the mysteries of thy divine being, that the whole ecstasy of prayer may fill our souls, a prayer that shall rise above words and letters and transcend the murmur of syllables and sounds, that all things may be merged into nothingness before the revelation of thy splendor. Lord, these are servants that have remained fast and firm in thy covenant and thy testament, and have held fast under the cord of constancy in their cause, and clung under the hem of the robe of thy grandeur. Assist them, O Lord, with thy grace, confirm them with thy power, and strengthen their loins in obedience to thee. Thou art the pardoner, the gracious. Amen.
Thank you very much, dear Claudia, and thank you every one of you for coming.
Thank you, Allah.
Oh, look what a gift. We're seeing Karen and Pat's dog there. So, oh, it's so wonderful. So wishing every one of you a wonderful night and good to have you.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.